Morning. Again, I'm here just to sort of give you some information, hopefully, about a few golfing matters. And today it's just a bit of information about the different sort of golf clubs you can get on the marketplace today. There are different golf clubs to suit different people, and I think it's important we recognise that we shouldn't use clubs which are going to make life harder for ourselves. So one of the first things I'll do is show you the club that probably most of you shouldn't be using, and that's called a blade golf club. It's a blade golf club simply because it's a very simple golf club. There's no benefit to using it, really, you could say. It's a very slim head, very basic in design. This is how they all were 25, 30 years ago anyway. We had no choice, we had to use these, and they were very, very difficult to use, basically because it had a very small and very, very minute sweet spot, as we call it, or hitting area, ideal hitting area. And so that made it very difficult for most of us to use, but we had no choice. So that's the club that we were using a while ago, still available now. The manufacturers developed golf clubs in a way that made them a lot easier for us to use nowadays. Basically, a style of club is a cavity back golf club we're talking about now. Has a big cavity in the back, hence the name, and what that does is put peripheral weighting all the way around the golf club. That means now the sweet spot I spoke about becomes vast in comparison. So it means you've got a lot more forgiveness, so therefore they're easier to use. The other thing they have is a wider base to them, more weight at the bottom of the club, gives it a lower centre of gravity, helps us to get the ball airborne a lot easier as well. So that's the club that the majority of us probably should be using if we want to make it easier for ourselves. Hopefully a lot of you have got those. If perhaps somebody falls in the middle of needing either or of those, you've got people who perhaps want a blend of both. They perhaps like the look of the blade golf club, but they still want some forgiveness. They may be a better golfer than maybe average, maybe a 12 handicapper and below. And so what you have now is a mid-cavity or a semi-cavity back. So it has some of the qualities I just mentioned with the cavity to give it a bigger sweet spot, but it does have a slimmer sole to it and more of an appearance that would appeal to perhaps the better golfer from the blade golf club I showed you at the start. So that's a sort of third type. It is important, as I said, to use a golf club which is going to help you and not hinder you, and that's just one of the aspects we look at getting right for people. We are here approved club fitters for all the manufacturers actually, so whether it be Mizuno, Callaway, Titleist, Ping, we can obviously do a proper full club fitting for you to get the right club and the right specification as well. Perhaps talk about that another day. But just come in or call in, make an appointment, whatever you want to do, we can happily see you and talk these things through and get the right equipment, like I said. That's our aim, as it is yours. A closer look up at the golf clubs we were just talking about for your benefit. So the Blade Golf Club, hopefully you can see now a bit better. Very, very simple in its design, very slim sole to it, very basic, I say, and very unforgiving. But it is useful for people who are of a very high standard and want to move the ball around, play lower shots, and that type of thing. So there's a place for it. The other one I mentioned then afterwards was the cavity-backed one here. See the big cavity in the back, which does make life a lot easier for the majority of golfers, and the base, which, as I said, is a lot wider, giving it an ease of getting the ball up in the air also. And then the last one I showed you was something that was in between. So it does have the cavity I mentioned, not quite as deep, and a slimmer base. So it does give you sort of a combination of the two benefits that the other clubs have.